Hey everyone, it's Nick, the Garlic Bread Warlord, and I am here today with a hot drop for you. Yes, sorry we could not get you a live show. We really do try to get you live content whenever we can. But sometimes the world works in mysterious ways and we just can't get it to you. We apologize for that. But we appreciate all of you guys checking in, wondering what's going on. Why don't we have a show? It's Monday. We went all weekend without any content. We need more content. We hear you. And we are appreciative. Now, let's talk a little bit of agent speak, right? Agents. What do we mean by that? The representatives for the players who oh so often screw up your fantasy teams, who screw up where your player goes. They send you your favorite player to the club that you hate the most in life. Why do they do this? Because money, baby. It's all about the money. And just like the $1 Million Man said, everybody's got a price. And if you're wondering how agents can play a role in the transfer process, just remember Malcolm. He was supposed to go to Roma, right? And then his agents, team of agents, hijacked the move and sent him to Barcelona instead. There were people at Rome waiting on Malcolm to arrive. The jet was gassed up for him to leave, and it all fell apart. Why? Because the agent had the final say, and the player was just like, okay, I guess. Sure, we'll go to Barcelona, a move he now probably regrets. But all that aside, the agent is very powerful. And Daniel Campos, Miguel Almiron's agent, he wants his 5 minutes in the spotlight, which is, sure, his client pretty much dominated the transfer headlines in January, and that's fine and great. He did a great job working with Atlanta United to get the transfer done, but now he's deciding to go and spill all the tea. Before I get into this, want to give a shout out to Juan Arango for presenting this on Twitter. You can follow Juan at JuanG_Arango. That's ARANGO. And he credits Roberto Rojas and Union FC 800 in Paraguay for interviewing Daniel Campos. So good for them. Now, this past transfer window, we had 3 conclusions, which are the most likely scenarios that you will see during any transfer process. 1, Atlanta United successfully transferring Miguel Almiron from Atlanta to Newcastle. 2, Acosta with DC United trying to move to PSG, and it falls apart at the end. This is probably the most common scenario for transfers you didn't even know were going to happen. And then 3, you had Giovinco leaving Toronto in a complete OMG move where the player says, I'm not showing up. I don't care what you say. Get me out. Now, previously we had said that 2 of the 3 weren't the most ideal situation because you could tell that the player, the representative, and the team were not on the same page. Well, now it looks like you can add all 3 situations under that umbrella. Now, Juan tweeted this. I'm going to read Juan's tweets and then give my little feedback at the end. This is from Daniel Campos. I had already been in Paraguay 9 weeks ago. Then 2 weeks ago, Miguel knew about the Newcastle interest plus 3 other clubs. He waited calmly. Good for him. He's not an anxious kid. He achieved his objective. He wanted to play in the Premier League. Okay, so far so good. He took things with serenity, but also with the responsibility that it entails. Also very good. What is shown at times is not the reflection of what goes on inside. The process is usually lived on the inside. He was excited. He was coming to England as a star, not as someone who is going to be filling a spot. He comes in as the biggest transfer in that club's history. All correct. He has a huge responsibility and he assumes it. So far, so good. Everything's on the up. Then the tea spilling starts. How should I say this? Atlanta United put many obstacles in front of us. They did not give us the response that we were expecting, but each one defends their interest. There were so many things that happened that were not the proper way to do them. Oh? And so it continues. I have been in this for 25 years. And when it comes to these type of things, the club tends to forget what the player did for them. The only thing that the team cares about is getting a profit and winning in a negotiation. Atlanta United did not treat him very well. Now this is getting very interesting because Campos had an opportunity. He could have let all this go, and he could have let his man be transferred to the Prem, could have been a hero for kids in Paraguay who saw Miguel Almiron make this move. It could have been done. But somebody had to get his 5 minutes of fame. So he keeps on going. The club put a number on him that they believed was the right one. We, not us, I should say the market, went out 70 days ago with that number, and the market said he was not worth that amount. It was a number very close to what they wanted, but they were stuck on that. I'm not going to talk about the numbers, but they were stubborn with that number. So a negotiation that could have gone smoothly, we had to go to the last minute with pressure from all sides. They ended up agreeing on the same number I brought to them over 25 days ago. These are things that happen. Football has these things. I can tell you that Miguel did not leave very pleased with Atlanta United. He will talk about it when the time comes. Now is not the time. We lost a lot of time as well as other things that I will not mention right now. They did affect the player economically in the end, and that should not have happened. So what does he mean there? So Miguel obviously missed some Premier League checks. Okay, this happens. And that's what Campos says. This happens, and he knows it. The same thing happened when he left Lanús. It was a friendly club. The same thing at Cerro Porteño. They value the player when he's coming in. When he's leaving, it's just a commercial transaction. Not every club is like this, but the economic end seems to be a higher priority over anything else. The player is one of the biggest idols for Atlanta United fans. This has nothing, all caps, to do with the people or the owner. This has to do with the people who make the decisions. Darren Eales, Carlos Bocanegra. In the end, it was just an obstacle. We had to resolve things as we were pressured for time. They had very few options. Miguel had to make a decision, and because of that, he lost a significant amount of money that should not have happened. This has nothing to do with Newcastle. In the end, it's money. What can you do? It's not the only thing at the end of the day. He's now where he wants to be. He has a 5-year contract. I will reiterate, there were offers from much bigger clubs that wanted loans and purchase a percentage of the player. I wanted him to be on a team where he can be the protagonist. The teams here in England are inundated with stars. It's not a matter of him not being able to play elsewhere. It's having the opportunity to play. Newcastle is a club where the manager asked for him specifically. He was this team's top priority in the transfer market. Okay, so what I would like to do here, because it's a lot to unpack, and I just am going to have to put this on a little bit of rant. Campos talks about how he was doing this for 25 years. If you have done anything like this for 25 years, you know you don't burn bridges. And when he talks about Miguel having to miss paychecks or money being lost, I'm sorry, wipe your tears in pounds sterling because I'm over it. And look, Miguel brought a championship to this city, and we in the Atlanta United community tend to put our players on pedestals and whatnot. And I'm sorry, Miguel's not here. Miguel went exactly where we said he would go, where this team said he would go. Campos got what he wanted. Now, if Campos is saying Atlanta United should have undervalued Almiron, then that's one thing. Because here's the basic thing of negotiation. I go high, you go low, we meet in the middle, everyone walks away miserable. That's how good negotiating's done. I feel like I gave up too much, you feel like you gave up too much, and then we have reached a settlement. And if Atlanta United had walked out and said, hey, look, we think the player's worth $25 million US. Okay, we think he's worth $10 million US. Well, now your negotiating has started at a much lower level than you wanted it to. So you said, okay, 30 firm, and then you start working in details, sell-on clauses, agent fees, everything else gets factored into this. And now that dollar amount starts working down, but not as fast as the team wanted, meaning Newcastle. Not as fast as the agent wanted, because as soon as Miguel starts collecting that Premier League money, everyone on their end wins. I'm sorry, I don't care about them winning. Did we promise Miguel would go to England or to Europe? Yes. Did we promise that we would put a player buy low, sell high? Yes. We put that to the fan base. That was promised. That was done. And Miguel will not be here at Atlanta United next year. Daniel Campos will not be here representing Miguel Almiron in the city of Atlanta next year. And I'm sorry, but Atlanta United is currently too busy counting commas on that transfer fee to worry about what Miguel Almiron or his agent thinks. And for all those out there who say, oh, Nick, you are being far too harsh, what about the next superstar who wants to come in? Well, the next superstar is already here because the player wants to go to Europe. The agent wants to collect the money. It's not that difficult of a transaction. And as we talk about, there are far more Miguel Almirons and Pity Martinez's out there than there are Sergio Agueros. So we can find that 1B, 2A talent, not that 1AA superstar, 5-star recruit talent. Those guys are going to get plucked right from Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, so forth, and go right to Europe. That's fine. Good for them. Their agents are making a wall of cash. But for players who aren't going to go right away, you have to understand what the deal is. And as he said, the same thing happened at Lanús and the same thing happened in Paraguay. Oh no, it's all about how bad the business is. I'm sorry, but player transfers are the economic lifeblood of clubs. If you want to put that steroid shot into the arm of any club, it is buying talent low or developing talent for free and selling it at a radical markup. That's how business is done. And if you don't have the stomach for that business, get out. Because that's the way the world works. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, there's more to it than just signing autographs, kicking balls, and calling it a day, right? Everybody gets to walk around on Instagram with 6-packs and, oh, this is where I'm traveling to today. There's more to this life than that. And at the end of it all, Miguel Almiron got exactly what was promised. Promises made, promises delivered, end statement there. And for Campos to come out and put all this out in the public is beyond stupid. Now, will Darren Eales care about this? No. Darren Eales is a businessman. He doesn't care. Campos could walk up tomorrow. Hey, look, I got this other kid from Paraguay. He's really good. Darren's going to be like, can the kid play? All right, what's the valuation on him? Huh? $3 million? Let me watch him? Yeah. Okay. We'll start the bidding process because it's assets. It's tradable assets. And nobody likes talking about other humans that way. I get it. I understand. But in this world, this soccer world that everybody wants to be a part of, this global market, you have to look at things as they are. And that means that a player has a valuation, a dollar amount that says, hey, this is what this player can do for our club. Or this is what our player has done for our club. Here's the amount we're willing to spend. And here's the amount that we are selling him for. The end. And Campos, if you don't have the stomach for a winter transfer window where it goes right up against the deadline, my friend, look, I'm sure there's lots of wonderful car dealerships in Paraguay that would love to have you. Maybe you can do a big bit in the large enterprise space. I don't know, man. But you've got to have a tougher bit of stomach if you're trying to get into this. And he... From what I'm reading from Orango and this crew, Miguel Almiron is his crown jewel. My friend, you better have some tougher guts because had this gone into the summer window where you would have had buyers all over the place, you may have had a little bit more luck. You may have had this done faster. But in the winter window, we have talked about this. You have clubs either trying to maintain a space, like clawing up to Europa League spots or clawing up into Champions League spots. They're typically not the superstar clubs. Or they're in the relegation zone. Either way, they probably have money troubles. Which means you have to go up against the blender. Because they have to move money around. They have to sell assets. They have to get the bank to front the money to them early from the TV rights. And if you can't get down with that, sir, get out. I respect you. I respect you as a businessman, but don't be coming out on TV and on radio crying about your money problems. There's too many broke people in the world to be getting on media talking about your money problems. We don't have time for that mess. I'm sorry, man, but it's the transfer world. And Atlanta United did exactly what they needed to do. They put a valuation on a player. It was high. It was higher than what it was. Oh my God, they weren't being forthcoming. No, they were selling the player. Of course they're not. How much you want for this car, man? Sticker price. What? Yeah, sticker price. Just sell me the card sticker price. Okay, sure. No problem. That will be $35,000, sir. Okay, done. Does any car negotiation go like that? You walk onto any car dealership lot, does it go like that? No? Do you typically come in and go, $35,000 car? I'll pay you $20,000. Probably a little more realistic. Because that's the world that we live in. And that's what anyone with half a brain would do. Newcastle needed to move money around. They didn't want to pay $27 million US. But they got it done. So maybe next time, Mr. Campos, you should come out and say, you know what? Did it take longer than we wanted it to? Yes. I mean, obviously in this complex world of transfers is what happens. But you know what I believe? I believe that my client, I believe that Miguel Almiron is a player who is a diamond in the rough. I believe that diamond was polished ever so much with Atlanta United. And we believe that when he goes into the Premier League, he will finally be able to sparkle like the jewel that he is, and he will showcase and show out at Newcastle FC. He will move them up the ladder because he is that substantial of an acquisition for that club. That's what Campos should have been saying. And maybe he did later in the interview and we're just not seeing it. I don't know. But what I'm telling you is that's what he should have said. And he should have said, we thank the teams that have led him to this point, but those teams, the fans were phenomenal. They were amazing, but that's all in the past. We're talking about today, and we're talking about what Miguel will do today and the future. That's it. That's the only two topics of conversation you need to be talking about at this point now that your player has made the move. Miguel Almiron is a diamond for Newcastle FC, and absolutely he will lead them up to the table. And when the time comes, when he leaves and when he departs Newcastle, he will depart as a hero for that club, as somebody who said, I choose you, Newcastle. That's what Miguel Almiron will do for this club. And when they put that statue up outside of Mercedes-Benz, he'll be there. And when they put that statue up outside of Newcastle, he'll be there. That's what Campos should have said. Showcase your client, my guy, not yourself. This isn't hard. Maybe it's a moment of weakness. I don't know. Maybe he's frustrated, tired, exhausted. I don't know. But he's got to figure it out. And my rant's done. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening. It's Nick Leafy, the Garlic Bread Warlord. Mucho Euro, yo. And sit tight in those negotiations. My God, man, don't give up so easy.